Moving on to your final ground, what have we got?
There's only ever going to be one ground. You know, it's
Highbury.
I long to go back there. Yeah, Highbury, definitely. No. It has to be Old Trafford. I mean, just like, let alone what it means, like obviously going there and as a United fan, blah blah blah. It's just the way it looks by itself. Well, I'll get onto like what it kind of means to me, all that kind of stuff. But like, I just like it, even just looking at it aesthetically, it's just a crazy looking, distinctive stadium that you can't really see anything like it. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to kind of put in words, but I just remember like growing up. Basically, my dad's side of the family is from Manchester, so not every time, but like when we used to go up to see family, even if we weren't going to a game, or I actually did a few stadium tours before I even went to a game. Even just like when you're driving around Manchester, because it's so big, you just see it. Like, just remember that excitement, like in the car, like, oh, it's Old Trafford. You just drive, and you just like your eyes are just like glued to it. Just like, no, it's like beyond the stadium, which sounds kind of soppy, but it's true. It's just the excitement. But yeah, I've been to a few games there. My grandma, she lived probably about a 20-minute walk from Old Trafford. So whenever I went to a game, we'd like park up at hers, because you're not going to be able to park near the stadium. You'd walk up again. I just remember like it's that anticipation when you first see it, like just in your eye line, you're just like, and then you obviously, as you walk closer, it gets bigger and bigger. And especially when I was younger as well, I don't know if you get it now, but like things just look a lot bigger when you're younger. Like obviously because you're smaller, it's pretty obvious. But yeah, just as you start to walk in, you get onto Busby Way, actually walking towards the same. You've got all the stands there. You know, it's just, again, it's kind of like this. Actually, do you know what this kind of goes back to that whole like festival feeling. I haven't been to like, I've been to quite a few football grounds, but I haven't been to like loads and loads. But it's definitely distinctly, it's got that kind of feel to it. Like if you go to Priestfield, if you walk around the stadium, again, obviously it's different, but you wouldn't really know there's a game on. Old Trafford, you just see all the people. Not only do you see all the people like pouring in, but like as you walk down Busby Way, there's just like rows and rows of different stands. There's obviously like the food, there's like the programs, the merchandise, blah blah blah. It's just that atmosphere. It's just like that kind of like festival feeling as you walk in, which just builds up the anticipation. You see the iconic stadium. It's just mad. Have you been there yourself?
I have. I think my favourite thing about Man United's ground, and I think it's got to be the statues and the clock from Munich on the outside, just because that's something that Man United has obviously got a lot of history, and the fact that I think that's my favourite part about football and football grounds is the history around it. And I remember going there with my football team from the US because we came across on like a tour to England, and being able to show them around, having been there before, it was quite special for me. Watch the film. I can't remember who the actor is, but watch the film with the guy from Skins. I can't remember his name, but
like Jack McConnell or something, whatever his name is. I can't know. That's Jack something like that. Maybe something like
that. But that film, and sort of, I remember my dad really liked Duncan Edwards. He loved Duncan Edwards, and just being able to sort of see that, see the Matt Busby statue and Sir Alex Ferguson's now, I guess. It's a really, I don't know, it gives me goosebumps even just thinking about it.
People say like a cathedral football, whatever. I get it. Like you just feel like the kind of history and stuff as you walk about.
I think that sort of is a good way to sort of summarise why we're doing this whole chat, is because there's so many grounds in England, and Old Trafford, Theatre of Dreams, is probably top one or top five of many people's picks.
It's in my top one.
Yeah. But it just gives you sort of that anticipation before a game, and just seeing it when you're sort of driving past it in the car, like you said, it's just so much excitement and so many memories come from that. So
Also, like the different views you get are pretty crazy. So if you sit in the Sir Alex Ferguson stand, one of the great things as well, if you're a bit higher up, is you can kind of see across the city, and it's just like, again, really hard to describe, but like you're just kind of sitting there watching the game, and you can also see across the city as well. It just kind of really adds to this, like, I don't know, just this like crazy feeling of an occasion.
moving on to your top three games, what comes in at number three?
So number three isn't actually a Man United game. The reason I'm putting it there, the reason I'm putting it there is because it's my first ever game at Old Trafford. It holds good memories for that reason. It was like obviously the first time you do many things. It's like that's the most, you have the kind of the strongest memories in a way, because you're just like, this is all new. It's all kind of novel, blah blah blah. So it was November 2003. It was an England friendly. It was England v Denmark. This comes back to the Wembley point, actually. I was up in the Sir Alex stand. It wasn't then. I think I was like in the top stand. And I have to say the view, again, maybe because I was like young or whatever, but the view isn't amazing, I have to say. Like, it's not like Wembley where the view's all right from everywhere. It was a bit difficult, but again, because you're so high up as well, it kind of adds to the whole, like, bloody hell, like this stadium is huge. Like, this kind of like feels like a kind of like Colosseum, like you're there, just everyone's so far away. It's just kind of, it does kind of add to it, actually, in a weird way. It was actually a pretty nutty game. So even though it was a friendly, it was actually 3 goals in the first 8 minutes, which is mad. Now, my memories of this game are, because I was only, 9 years old, good maths there. But yeah, 3 goals in the first 8 minutes. The first goal was a Rooney strike as well. It might have been his first goal in England for England, maybe. It was definitely one of his first. And it was like a great strike off the bar. Again, that was when like peak like teenage Rooney, when he was like the chosen one. He scored 5 minutes in. Denmark equalised 3 minutes later. And then literally straight from kickoff, England went ahead again. Denmark equalised in the 30th minute and then also got a late winner, so ended up winning. But I don't think I was that gutted. Like, if it was a league game and I'd gone, like, or even if it was like a competitive England game, you would be a bit like, oh, it's kind of soured it. But because it was a friendly, I wasn't that bothered. It was just a great experience being there, especially seeing Rooney score as well. Before he even came to United, to be fair, but just it was a lot of hype around it.
I've got him up there in an England shirt.
Exactly. What a man. What a player.
Yeah, he was a class player.
Especially those first. Yeah, I just remember that kind of like teenager, early 20s Rooney, when he was just like all over the place, aggressive, did everything on the pitch, just had everything to his game, had more pace, he could dribble. Because later in his career, he like went a bit deeper, became more of a kind of like a number 10, didn't quite have the same pace to him, didn't have that kind of all action kind of style of play. But back in those days, he honestly, I think he's underrated still. Like, he was so good, and just seeing him for England in like my favourite stadium, like, it was great. Even though it was to be fair, it was a great game, but England lost, so really it shouldn't hold amazing memories, but it definitely does.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I've been to a couple friendlies in my time, and a lot of them have been 0-0 bores. So to be able to get 3-2, even to be on the losing side, still pretty great. Moving on to your number 2 at Old Trafford, who have we got?
So this was my first Man United game at Old Trafford. It was the last game of the 2005-06 season. So if I don't know, you probably remember, but United won the title in 2002, 2003, and they actually they kind of had quite a lull, like a fallow period where they didn't win anything. At least didn't win the Premier League. I think it was 3 seasons, which was like, let me think. Yeah, I think it was 3 seasons, which was like probably like the longest in Sir Alex's tenure there. it was a time when United were like trying to like bring through players like Rooney and Ronaldo. So it wasn't quite the kind of last day game that you'd might expect at Old Trafford, but there was definitely something in it. It wasn't like, I don't know, because there's been, I mean, you compare that to now. If you look at the last day of the season at Old Trafford last few seasons, it's literally been like a dead rubber where nothing, like there was that one, it was a 2017 season where it was United v Palace and Mourinho played like all the kids because we had the Europa League game coming up. It was just a complete dead rubber. No one cared about it. Although it wasn't peak Man United, if you will, we went into the last day of the season neck and neck with Liverpool to get second place. I'm pretty sure we'd qualified for Champions League, but like, I'm pretty certain we had. But it was just about, even though like we'd already got that kind of target secured, it was just about the kind of intent of United. We'd finished third, I think, the last 2 seasons. It was about kind of just showing the progress, that it wasn't all lost, that, you know, Fergie could actually like still improve the side, basically. So there was something on the game, even though it wasn't, yeah, as I said, peak Man United. And yeah, it was United v Charlton. I was sat on the Sir Alex stand. I wasn't high up in the gods. I had a much better view. And we absolutely battered them. It was great. It was 3-0 at half time, including a Ronaldo goal. And this was like just before Ronaldo became like the Ronaldo we know. It was like when he was a bit of a inconsistent teenager, that he was still like my favorite player. He was like Beckham was always my favorite player before that, and as soon as he left, it just automatically, because Ronaldo was kind of brought in as the replacement and wore the number 7, he just automatically became my favorite player. So to see him score like in the flesh was just, again, at that age, I was what, like 12, so I was still pretty young. Unbelievable. Again, like absolutely battered them. 3-0 half time, could have been more. Second half, not as much happened. Got another goal. And got to see it. So obviously we secured second place. Got to see the players do a lap of honour at the end, which was pretty cool. Yeah, it was just a really nice day out. Again, a nice May day. It was, yeah, because it was the first game that I'd been to see at Old Trafford involving United. I think it just holds memories for that kind of reason. And yeah, even though it wasn't a title-winning campaign or whatever, a title-winning game or whatever, it was still, there was still something on it. And it still felt like when I was there, like it had that meaning to it. It wasn't just like when you go to a game sometimes and it's kind of not really got much on the line. Definitely had that feeling to it.
Yeah.
It was really enjoyable.
Score a load of goals.
Exactly. That's the thing, like, to be fair, even if it is like going to see your team, because I get it now, like watching United on the like, I don't know, like it could be, I don't know, like a cup game, maybe not the West Ham game the other day because that was terrible. But like, I don't know. I'm trying to think examples like last few years. Like we played Reading in like January a few seasons back, and it was a game that you knew it was going to win, but like it was just fun to see the team play, even if it is a game that doesn't matter. But because it's had something on it, it elevated it even more. So that's my number 2.
All right. So what goes number 1?
This is the last United game I've actually been to see. It was New Year's Eve, 2017. No, sorry, 2016. New Year's Eve, 2016. It was the 16-17 season, which was Mourinho's first season. The season that we signed Zlatan, Pogba. When we were like weirdly good, but without actually being able to win games. We just drew like so many games. Ended up finishing 6th that season. I mean, it was fine because we won the Europa League, won the League Cup. It was actually a decent season in the end. But in the league, we were like quite a weird team. But I do remember like it was just like, even though it was Mourinho and I'm not his biggest fan, if I'm being honest, it was quite a fun team to watch. You had, like, as I said, like Pogba, Zlatan, Martial, Rashford, Mkhitaryan, Mata, blah, blah, blah. Hesse, Lingardinho, of course, as well. But yeah, pretty nutty game. So this was, as I said, New Year's Eve. This is when we were like competing for top 4. We knew that was the end. We didn't finish there the season before. Again, it was about the progression. It wasn't necessarily like P Man United, but it's always, even now. This is why I come back with Ollie. I'm like, we're still progressing, even though we're not, probably not going to win we're not going to win the league. Let's face it. But it was about like watching my team seeing that we're progressing from under Van Gaal, where it was some of the worst football I've ever seen in my life. It was horrendous. There was that period where it was like 12 home games in a row where it was 0-0 at half time, or United hadn't scored at half time. So this was improvement. But yeah, pretty nutty game. It was 0-0 first half, even though we absolutely smashed them. At the end of the game, United had 32 shots and Middlesbrough had 9. So like it was, we were definitely the better team. Zlatan had a goal ruled out in the first half, which is really unfortunate. I think at that point as well, this was like peak Zlatan. I think he was 1 goal away from getting the most ever goals in a calendar year, like ahead of Messi's record. Had the goal ruled out for, I think it was a high boot, but it was a really bad decision. But so that was a bit annoying. Got on to the second half. Again, we were in the ascendancy, but Borough scored in the 67th minute. And like, bearing in mind, I'd travelled all the way up from. This one I was actually living with you in Brighton. Although I'd gone back for Christmas, to be fair, but it was in that year. So obviously travelled all the way up from Kent, like gone all the way there, like not necessarily expecting us to win, but like to see us play so well and be losing, it was absolutely gutting. And this continued, like, so we were 1-0 down, 67 minute. Went on for like 20 minutes where we just couldn't score. There was one point, I don't know what formation we were playing, but Mourinho just put on like all our attacking players. So at one point we had Zlatan, Martial, Mkhitaryan, Rashford, Mata, and Pogba all on the pitch. As I said, fuck knows what the formation was, but it was just like all out. Like it was as if like you were like on FIFA and it's like all out attacking. It was just like put all your attacking players on. Fortunately, in the 85th minute, a ball through. I can't remember who played it. I think it was Pogba actually. It was Pogba up to Zlatan, heads it down. Martial puts it in, equalised. Fucking great. Happy that I wasn't going to go see a loss. At that point, I was like, okay, I'll take it. Literally, so that was 85th minute. Literally straight after kickoff again. I can't remember what happened exactly, but it came out to Mata on the right, dinks it in, Pogba header, top corner, absolute. So that was honestly like the first goal was 85th minute, the second one was at 86th minute. It was like bang bang, kind of like it felt like a throwback to United era of the past. This is before it all kind of unraveled, but under Mourinho. But at the time when we had hope, it was just like unbelievable. Where I was sitting as well was like right next to the Borough fans, and they were giving us shit the whole game. So as you can imagine, when we scored that goal, we were just like, who are you? Who are you? Like just giving them so much shit. It was just the whole thing was just so good. I just remember like just when the final whistle went, just being like elated. Like just it's such. Again, it comes back to the whole like thing I was saying about Gillingham. Like there's nothing beats a last minute winner. Like it's such a good feeling.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
for that reason, it has to be the top game.
Yeah, I've got to agree. Last minute winners, it just gives you sort of that next level feeling of you're on top of the world, and like, to be sat next to the away fans and being able to do that, it's a bonus in itself.
Yeah, it's definitely something in like because you're so disappointed, you think you're going to lose, and it's just a shift in mentality in such a short space of time, or draw even. Just the way it kind of changes, it just goes from like nothing to something. You can't beat it. It's the best thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure I'm in like a lot of football fans agree, but I'd rather win like that than win 5-0. Like it's so much better. Obviously, that probably means your team not playing as well. I say that like obviously you'd rather your team just win nicely. But like, if you had to choose between them, you'd always go for a last-minute winner because it's just the best way to win a game. Like.
Yeah, you can cruise and be cocky to a 4-0 win, but being able to have that feeling of jumping around, sort of one screaming your head off, two hugging a stranger that you've never met before.
Yeah,
pre-COVID.
Yeah, don't do that now.
Wait until everyone gets vaccines. All right, moving on from letting COVID interrupt our chat. What's going to be your number one for goals that you've seen at Old Trafford?
So I haven't seen like that many great goals there. I'd say it's between the Rooney goal I talked about, which was great because off the bar goals are the best. Like they're just the best goals. But it wasn't like that far out. Like if it's further out, then you think, wow, that was so hard. Whereas because I think he was in the area, it wasn't like kind of out of nowhere. It wasn't as hard a finish. So I'm going to have to go for, in the aforementioned 4-0 Charlton game, the fourth goal in the second half, scored by the one and only Kieran Richardson, if you remember him.
Wow, yeah, no, I do.
So in that game as well, I remember. Well, I don't remember because it was so long ago. But I was looking at highlights of this game before this, and he actually had an even better strike, just come off the bar, like top corner. Well, obviously top corner because it's hit the bar, but like smashed it off the bar, like bounced off the line and came out. He was going for it that day. I think it was just before the 2006 World Cup. He knew that Sven was watching him. He was like, I need to put him in my thoughts. Yeah, in the second half, again, it was the only goal of the half, so it stood up for that reason too. Just about 30 yards out, pinged it on his left foot in the bottom corner. It wasn't like a top corner, like absolutely incredible goal, but it was just such a good finish. Had to be that one because, yeah, there's not that many great ones, but just on pure like skill alone.
Still, though,
And it's always good to mention Kieran Richardson. So
I was literally just going to say that to have Kieran Richardson top goal that you've seen, that's quite a throwback. Kieran Richardson,
it's a big accolade.
Yeah, for him, 100%.
I know what happened to him. He was really talented. He was really like promising, and then it just kind of didn't really happen for him. But
He was, he played a role in Alex Ferguson's sides for a couple of years. So to even say that, you've had that's definitely an accolade to have on your career.
Exactly. Score in front of me, like that's what more could you want?
Right, so we've got the top stadium. We've had your top moments elsewhere, but what is the top moment for your top stadium?
It's going to have to be the Pogba winner, for the reasons that I've mentioned. You can't be a last minute winner. Also, Pogba is my favourite United player, to be honest. He's just such a unique player, just in the way he plays. Like, It's weird to have someone who's like that, kind of like physically strong. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's someone with that physique who is that skillful as well and has the kind of like dribbling and quick turn and pace. He's not like the fastest player, but he's just such a unique player. He's so fun to watch as well. Like, if you just like, not only like in terms of the little skills he does, just his passing range is unreal. And like at that point as well, he hadn't had the greatest start to his career, and he was coming under quite a lot of pressure. So to see him score the winner there was just great. On like for the reasons I said, and also just for him as well. Like, it was just on so many levels. Had to be that. It was a great header as well. So fair play to the lad.
Yeah, I think Pogba's had a mixed career, especially with United. At Juventus, he was just everything that, at least what I saw, was just incredible, and you've always expected him to sort of bring that out every game. But I think what we're seeing now with him in this United side, whether or not he'll stay, is a lot more mature sort of. He's matured a lot as a player, a lot less sort of, maybe a lot less aggressive, but he, like you said, he's just so powerful, skillful. I hope he does stay a bit longer than what his agent's saying about him leaving this summer. But
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
I'd love to see him do something at United, but yeah, who knows?
Not a bad goal from not a bad player to finish it off then.
Exactly.